Thinking of old memes and giggling while walking. I think that the moody these past few days is the fact that we all lost an hour of sleep earlier this week. I think that's got something to do with it. So now I'm just going, what the fuck was this fort called? It's been a couple of days. Mothfall, right. Yes. Mothfall. So Mothfall is a fortress named after the elf that fell off of the moth and drowned in a waterfall just up the way. Mothfall is a very vertical map in which we are building a castle on. So we are working on that. The fortress design currently is very simple. All it has right now is a tavern. If we go underground, you'll see that there is some food storage over there and some bedrooms just underground. And if I go up one, you'll see where we are constructing what is going to be more bedrooms up above, as well as space for dwarves to live. This fortress is going to be basically built on these 3 layers, or maybe 4, because we'll go up another one, but 3 to 4 layers. As far as what the fortress actually is, it is a big ol' cliff with a waterfall all the way down to here with a big river. This is the same river that Hotbeards was attached to, if you remember Hotbeards. We're just slightly downstream. As far as actual location in the world goes, we are right here. This is Hotbeards, which now had 750 people, but is now at 600. The population's been going all over the place in this fort, so. But this is Hotbeards, right here. So we've moved just up here with Mothfall. The moth that actually died was right there. You wonder if the pink dwarf will come over? I wonder if they've already come over. But we're going to read through the dwarves that are currently in the fort. Some have wandered over from previous places. Some have been renamed. Nox, as an example, has been renamed since Nox died. We're currently getting a migrant waste talk to me. We should just unpause the game for a minute. Yeah, I think we'll do that. We'll jump to where they're digging, and we'll just unpause the game for a minute. You'll be able to see their quarry second down here, which is down and along the side of the river. We will just let the game be unpaused for a minute. We are currently mining out all of this Garnerite ore. There's a lot of it, which isn't the most useful because Garnerite is nickel. Yeah, not all that useful. But we are mining it out. We'll make trade goods. We'll make something out of it. We got to make do with what we get because that's the way of things. I'm building these unnecessary supports because I think that they look cool. Just above here, we've also got this other area that we've mined out pretty heavily. And we also, alongside of the Garnerite ore, have all of this Galena that's hanging around, which we're going to auto-mine as well. Down here, underneath this is, the river, so we kind of have to be careful digging around it and all that. There are giant snails and stuff on the map. There are impalas and giant moths and giant sponges and carp and all that fun jazz. It is Untamed Wilds, after all. As far as actual people in the fortress go, we do have some interesting ones. Specifically, we have this goblin Miller, who is one of my adventurers, who we wandered over here. And we have a couple people like that. We also have an elf in here somewhere, if I can find him. So we've got a couple interesting people. I think there's an elf. Hold on, where's my... Oh, there's the 2 chameleon people. The chameleon man and the chameleon lady. Chameleon man's a clother, and the chameleon woman is... Yeah, it's not elves, it's just the 2 chameleon people. And then the chameleon herbalist, and then the goblin. You spot a you? Yay, you spot a you. So yeah, let's read through this. The dwarves that are in the fort. We currently have Wuchi, Darren, Kettlars. I can actually just zoom out this a little bit. Will help. Kettlars, Freeways, Stone, Nox, Stone, who came from the other fort, Nox, Mandelf, Pink Fluffy Llama. Then we have Meg. We have Hatchington. We have Cussy, and I think that's the full list currently. And then as far as adventurers go, we have... where are you? Chameleon Woman, Herbalist, Saba, We have our Goblin Miller, Ethma. And where's the clother? The Chameleon Man Clother, Balu. And then there one of the adventurers was a dwarf. I'm just not sure which one it was. I could tell you in a few seconds though, actually. By going into here and going into relationships. Okay, so you're a companion. And then the other companions are Padinsky is the final companion. The Stutcherer. So this was the group of 4. The Chameleon Woman that we're looking at right now, plus Rumrums, Padinsky, and then we have Balu and Saba. If you'd like me to check in with you with your dwarf, if you heard your name called, let me know. And if you'd like me to name a dwarf after you, I can do that. Have I ever fed a save into those 3D Fortress viewers? It's kind of neat. I think they're ugly as shit, so no. And I think that the game looks just fine as it is. But I do release my save files from time to time, so if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to. I don't have a release for this current version of this particular save file, though. Yeah, I don't think they look good. It's kind of that simple. But yeah, that's where we're currently at. Also, because I would need to install DF Hack to use them properly, and because I kind of hate the way DF Hack looks and the way DF Hack operates, I never installed DF Hack, so I don't have easy access to them anyway, so I just kind of don't bother. Trying to figure out how to do this. I need to let them just make more blocks. I'll just make granite blocks. And I need to mine up more granite while I'm at it. There was one at one point, but I think it's... I don't think it's... like, it got updated in, like, the last decade, so... Like, there was a DF to Minecraft conversion thing that existed for a bit, but like I said, I don't think it's existed for quite a while. I need to double up the outside of these walls, build an overhang. I need to go around the edges and tidy things up. We need to get trading inside the walls. We need to get all of this stuff out here entirely moved inside. So, I don't use Lazy Noob Pack. Although you shouldn't call it Lazy Noob Pack. It's Starter Pack, but I don't use the Starter Pack. But it was like, it's buggy and hasn't been updated in ages as far as I know. But, I don't know. The last I read into it, it barely worked, but maybe it's been updated. I don't really follow that stuff. Literally still calls itself LNP. Not technically, and you shouldn't call it that. So I don't care what it literally calls itself, don't call it that. Don't, like, demean people for using a pack that shouldn't be called Starter Pack to begin with, but whatever. Enough of my unpopular opinions. Don't call it Lazy Noob Pack. It's that simple. Don't call it that. We're moving all of my animals in here, I think, is what I need to do right now. Although, we can do this one by one with different types of animals. So let's do, like, all the fowl. So all the geese. The turkey that I have, apparently. The peachick. The duckling. What up? I'm back. Oh, you only just noticed? Yes, I've been back for 20 minutes now. Well, 30 probably. What was the problem? My ISP decided to turn my internet off for no logical reason, and then they turned it back on when I called them. My router lost connection for an unknowable reason. That's basically it. Horse, water buffalo, boar. Might split all the grazers out, but I think I'm gonna give the pigs their own area. Cow, foal, alpaca, yak, llama. Yeah, we'll give the non-grazers their own area. Puppy. Dog. War bobcat. Where's the pigs? Piglet. Wild boar. Or just a boar. Do I have a sow? I don't have a sow. Or sow, technically. That'd be accurate. Get rid of all that. Now they should be able to just move all them animals. Classic ISP pranks? Yes, classic ISP pranks. Music that you're hearing right now is the fan music for DF. Written by Simon Schreiber. However you're supposed to say his last name. Originally written for Sound Sense. But yeah, no, there's a lot of tools and plugins for DF that do things that I think are pretty outdated, for lack of a better term. Specifically, like, lazy noobs. Like, we are beyond that as people who play games. We need to not insult people just for the sake of naming things, which is what Lazy Noob Pack is and does, and I kind of hate that. So how did this happen? I don't think it was so. You're correct. It's the Sow, that's a new one. I can't handle all this bacon anymore. Also, bacon is overrated. Change my mind. Let's go down to the end here. Whoopsies. Break that up. Stretch it out. Along the bottom. I'm literally just lining these right now so that I have a visual representation of where my fields end. Can I make those last ones out of granite? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that anybody ever said to say it ain't so. It's definitely not the case. So how about that multicolored wood that's coming? I'm thinking about this as I'm placing all of this wood on the ground. Like we're gonna have differentiations between different wood types in the color palette in the premium version. That's actually kind of exciting to me. More ways to beautify and uglyify my fortress. I can't wait. We'll swap out all of these end bits with pillars. That's stairs. Having more than 16 colors in general is exciting. Oh, it absolutely is. It's like I'm getting all of that like 16-bit console era excitement again of going from you know, games that had very few colors to games with more colors, and it's exciting. Let's construct an upstairs at the bottom there. Use the granite blocks. Okay, where's this last one? And it ends at the end of that wall there, so I can do this. How's that? That fits, I think, largely. In addition to the fungi woods, yeah, so like, just as an example, in the premium version, if I go into the wall building thing, round lime logs will potentially be a different shade to willow logs, which will be a different shade to coffee wood logs, because we have access to more colors now. That's what I'm talking about, which is exciting. So yes, in addition to the fungi woods, we'll have different shades of wood colors. So Potentially like 50 shades of wood colors. That was a bad joke, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Yes, exactly. 50 shades of wood colors. Exactly as I meant it. There's nothing weird about that statement. You're kind of but can see a fancy art use for that. I'm not on it at all. I think it's really exciting, actually. It's going to make me care about types of wood I use for construction, which I think is a huge deal. So I'm actually, like, super excited about it. Just considering I enjoy being kind of artsy with my forts. Why did that get canceled? Maybe someone was standing on it. The block's right there, so I'm assuming someone was standing on it. All right, so we've got all the foul in the middle, so we're gonna make some nest boxes. Let's make 3. And as previously, if you would like me to name a dwarf after you, or if you'd like me to check in on your dwarf, give me a shout. But the goal of this entire playthrough is we are trying to expand the home faction, which is the Crimson Pulley. And the goal is to make the Crimson Pulley as big, great, and powerful as possible. Hopefully, expanding upon what they've built previously. Oh, we made doors. Was that job that was completed? No, I can tell you for a fact that you don't, Yuma. Do you have any job preferences? We have a mason, some rangers, some hunters, some carvers, a few hammer dwarves down at the bottom, a peasant, some farmers, 1 fisheries worker, unfortunately, for their soul. Do you have any preference? Let me know what you want. Bone carver? It's a rare one that people want. It's rare that people want a bone carver, but yeah, we can give you a bone carver. As I queue up all of these wall upgrades, give me a sec. I got nothing. I got no metal work industry running right now, so there's no metal to give. If that's what people want. So Yuma is now in the fort. You killed a giant snail here, and you feel euphoric due to inebriation. Unsatisfied at work, but uneasy after seeing Zulban Tactic Cloister's dead body, who I think fell into the water, if I'm not mistaken. Pretty sure that's what happened. Pretty sure it fell into the water. But unfortunately, you had to see such awful sights. But you are a casual worshiper of Deller Diamondcrest the Mountainous, which of course is the deity of the Crimson Pulley, most often takes the form of a female dwarf and is associated with metals. Ah, I understand what you're saying. I thought that you were saying that you wanted a metalworker, and I'm like, I can't give you one. I don't have any currently. His media IB Leech would be nice. We'll just go look at the puppies, okay? Or the kitten. We have both of those, one of each. They'll probably both get made into soup, though, so look while you can. His medium-length sideburns are neatly combed. His very long mustache is, of course, also neatly combed. His medium-length beard is arranged in double braids. Medium braids, of course. Not long braids, medium braids. His very long hair is braided, and his ears have large hanging lobes. He has a prominent chin, and his heliotrope eyes have large irises. He has dark pitch skin, and is slightly wrinkled, and his hair is black with a touch of gray. He likes olivine, nickel, faint yellow, diamond, and gauntlets. Faint yellow diamonds, man. Gauntlets and rings and geese for their formation flying. All right, go look at geese. And giant orioles for their coloration in the words of the musical poem and the sound of the poet of couples. And when possible, you prefer to consume stork and white-spotted puffer. and passion fruit wine, and sheep's milk. And you can't stand flies. Not that I blame you. Flies are absolutely obnoxious. And now, without missing a beat, I'm going to tab over to Discord and scroll up a little bit, and then read this, and then go back to reading the Dwarf's description, hopefully in a smooth fashion so that you guys are very confused about the blue scorpions glow fluorescently in nuclear mobile signals and toxic sludge. Do donuts dream of missing socks? Runway, tarmac, surfaces glint, curdled cream. Tequila subtitled guitar destruction fueled album covers. Scandalous London Bridge is falling down. Space will space and rogue will roll? Question mark? Doll hovel rent is extortionate. You serious usurper. I think that's a word. That's how you spell it. Perfect. Now, with all that being said, he lives at a slow-going and leisurely pace and can be confident under pressure, dreams of raising a family, and has a noticeable lack of perseverance, but often feels envious of others. He is curious and eager to learn and has an active sense of humor and isn't given to flights of fancy. When he's annoyed, he starts to walk slowly, and he needs alcohol to get through the working day. He likes working outdoors, but only grumbles mildly at inclement weather. Doesn't really care about anything anymore. Overall is somewhat focused with satisfied needs. Very relatable little dwarf. There's the bone carver, Yuma. Of London Calling by the Clash. You know, now that you put it that way. Speaking of Yuma, one other thing I wanted to check in with you. You have a pet puppy, in fact. A medium-sized, highly social mammalian carnivore. Has a keen sense of smell, and it can be trained to obey commands. You have a pet puppy named Rith Dorandakis. It won't be a pupper for much longer. It's going to be a fully grown dog soon. Bum, 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 bum. Well, it's good for that you'll still love them. I mean, loving them is generally part of the job when you have a puppy. I would think, anyway. As somebody who's never had a puppy, but has lived in houses that have had puppies, like the one I grew up in, it's pretty clear that, like, you just kind of have to love them. Like, that's just what you have to do when you have a puppy. If you don't, you're just kind of a bad person, in fact. Also, Yuma cancels hunt due to lacking ammunition. Apparently, we have 2 silver bolts in the whole fort, so that's good. How's things, audio? Welcome back. Did you go get food before or after my internet went out? I think that you totally missed that whole bit. Before? Okay. Well, my internet went out. That was unpleasant, but not much I can do, really. Yep, pretty much. But the nice lady on the phone did the boopity boop of the buttons on their end and fixed my internet. Hopefully. So, you know. We go back to building Mothfall. The Fort Mothfall. This one is nowhere near as ambitious as the last one. This one's more supposed to be like a rest bed for adventurers than the last one. The last one was just kind of a big warmongery fort. This one's going to be more of a, like I said, a rest bed. All of these wood spots are temporary standing spots so that we can build the corners. Keep going around. Puppers do not stay pupper-sized. Well, they stay mentally pupper-sized, but they become full-size dogs. You do have a Labrador Retriever dog that has stopped growing at 7 months at 53 pounds. Oh boy, like a third of a me. More like a, yeah, about a third of a me. Little bit more than a third of a me. There's 110 pounds of pure muscle. Oh my god. That's a big animal, that. We are building this fortress out of granite blocks. Hopefully it ends up being cool. Let's do the more wood flooring. Can clumsy dwarves actually trip and fall outside of combat situations and poor dodges? I don't know, but it sure seems like it. I mean, I've seen dwarves just like randomly gain like the yo, dwarf flat on ground background. I've definitely seen that happen with them just wandering around for no reason, so I assume so. It's one of those, like, everybody says it's possible, and I've seen evidence to suggest it's possible, so I'm inclined to believe it. But also, you know, Dwarf Fortress is one of those games where part of the reason it's so good is because it is really good at pretending that it does everything, even though sometimes it doesn't. So Dwarf Fortress is a weird game like that. Here come all the dwarves. Back and forth. And we go in here and we deconstruct these. Well, actually, no, not that one. This one has to go up here. Build a granite tile there, and then we'll deconstruct that one. This one over here can get deconstructed. One there needs to be canceled, and we need to build another wood log floor piece right there. Cool. Lower bit down here is now working. Looks like they need drinks, but... But yeah, no. Internet went out for like kind of no real discernible reason, but we back now, so not super thrilled about it, but not much I can do. And then Navy gave the stream some fuel while the internet was out, so I'm extremely thankful for that. But yeah, that's the current status. We're just playing dwarfs. Into the normal stream of affair, you know? The show and why everybody's here. At least I think this is why everybody's here. There's always that existential crisis streamer question of, chat, why are you here? Because, like, I'll be honest, there are days where I feel like I know why you guys are here, and then there are days where I'm just like, I have no idea why anybody watches me. Stuff's all so different from the streamer's perspective, it's kind of hard to explain. We're going to put a wall piece right there. All right, now we just wait. You made 50 Shades of Wood in Discord. I really hope that it's... You didn't use 50 different shades of wood? That's my first complaint about this. Oh, that's a new one. Huh. I really hope that those were all bots and I'm not banning people that are copy-pasting it because I think it's funny. That's happened a couple of times now. Like the bots are like trying to get more consistent, and like maybe someone's bot's going haywire because instead of like posting it every so often, they all post it at the same time. I mean, it's been a while since my channel's been attacked by actual spammers. Does anybody here remember that time that like anti-Western Russian hate channel raided me? Does anybody remember that? That was a fun minute. It's like suddenly my entire chat just filled up with Russian slurs. It was a weird minute. It does, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, they'll just come back. But oh dear, what happened? I was right now and nothing. Just some spam bots. Yeah, just robots. Nothing biggie. Just you know, the classic best followers and primes and viewers on yourfollowswiththez.com. Don't actually go to that website, please. Assuming it's a real website, which with these things, you know, it's questionable as to whether or not it's even real. All right, we need to be mining more granite, so let's go do that. Let's go back down to the quarry, which is all the way down here. All this is granite. Look at all that granite. It's a lot of good granite. Damn them robots, yeah, making the rest of us look bad. So all that this means is that we need to fight back against the raw bits with ammunition purchased from Navy's bits. I thought this pun sounded better in my head. This bit sounded better in my head. Okay, it stopped working the second I started saying it. They should hop off. Ribbit? Sorry, is this a frog pun? Is that the direction we're going with this? Well, I mean, see, here's the thing. If these robots had more in common with frogs, at the very least their legs would be delicious. I don't even think they have legs right now. Game saving, I can't do anything. Summer hath arrived on calendar. Oh, that's wonderful. I'm kind of thinking about having like a tunnel from the inside of the fort down into this open mine area because I want the mine to be open to invaders. That's something that I want to do with this fortress. I want this area that we are mining out down here to be open to invaders. I want them to be able to swarm into it. So what I might do is build like a mine shaft that comes down to this area from the fortress itself to lower on travel time with a ladder, with a bridge over top of it that goes donk down when needed. Also, how's the music volume, by the way? Is the music volume good? He says that just as he turns it down slightly. But yes, summer hath arrived on calendar. That means the dwarves just had to go through daylight savings, those poor bastards. Probably all sleepy. I know they're normally awake for like 3 weeks at a time, but like, God. That one day of missed sleep is just too much. Let's just put one tile of floor right there. But yeah, lots of talk of schedule shifts today. As for the actual stream itself, the only real way that the schedule shift will affect the stream itself is I will stream longer. So you guys down for the schedule change next week? We'll give it like a 1 month to test her out. See how it goes. Stream 3 days a week, but really long hours. I do know a streamer who actually does that schedule. What's the word? He'll acclimate to it eventually. I mean, it's days that I already stream, right? At the same time that I already stream. So that part's not going to change. The change is going to primarily be the amount. That's going to actually be the change. It's just the amount that I stream. Let's do... But I understand the struggle of schedule changes. I'm making a garbage compactor right now. 10 rock mechanisms. Doors are dancing, actually. Listen to music. What kind of music? The horror and lashes is an example of the embraces of Satin. That seems distressing. The composer has selected the oceans and nothing more. That sounds like a song about a great flood. That's what I would think of that. The verse is a walking pace. The chanter's voice covers the entire range. The passage is long phrases in the melody. The passage is typically has some sparse chords. I feel like I would like this. Bots decompose communities. Yeast decomposes community of sugar. Yeast produces alcohol and is dissolved by sugars that are indigestible to themselves, and the byproducts of them known as legs. Turn to velocity. So what you're telling me is that bots byproducts are scams and irritation, which are analogous to the legs left by the yeast, and the bot legs are not as likely to be as delicious as yeast byproduct. Conclusion: replace bots with brewing equipment. You know, hold on. I'm going to make a command. Gonna send a chat message. That chat message is going to be what you just said. All right, exclamation point bot spam is now in effect. You have a new command, chat. Have fun. So when you see bot spam, post bot spam. Chorus is very fast, and the chanter's voice stays in the middle register. Conclusion is obviously replace bots with brewing equipment. I'm just saying, this is like the most dwarfy thing I've seen all day. Because once again, bots decompose communities. Yeast decomposes communities of sugar, and yeast produces alcohol, and the dissolved sugars are indigestible to themselves. These byproducts have a property known as legs, related to the viscosity and the alcohol and sugar content and adhesion. Bot byproducts are scams and irritation, which are analogous to the legs left by the yeast. But bot legs are not as likely to be as delicious as yeast byproduct. Conclusion: replace bots with brewing equipment. That's very dwarfy, and I appreciate it. Definitely add a cooldown to that if I haven't already. I don't think it'll be posted too often, but... give it a 10-second global cooldown. It is kind of a wall of text, so yes. This seems like a neat little piece of music. Specifically, I love the name of it. The Horror and Lashes is an example of the embraces of Satin. That's, to me, just is like one of the most metal things I've seen in this fort. The Horror and Lashes is the name of that music that they were playing. Which just sounds awesome to me. Who doesn't want to listen to The Horror and Lashes? I mean, it's my favorite album by them. It could be a metal band. It's definitely like black metal lyrics, if not a metal band. And let's connect these a bunch. There's no... I could just clear mine all of this and just cut out every single piece of block all the way through this whole area, but I don't know. That's not how real mines work, really. Unless it's a pit mine, so I'm going to dig in natural supports in a way that looks nice to me. We'll let them work on that a little bit while we work on blocks and let the dwarves socialize briefly. We also need to look at where the actual fort is relevant to where we're mining. I could have like a down stair going through here, but we're going to link this up to the Willow Bridge. Don't have enough mechanisms. Not yet. Anybody making mechanisms? Yes. Old save files wouldn't be playable is what would happen. Although, aren't they, like, iffy on realistic cave-ins? The problem with cave-ins is most games have very arbitrary cave-in amounts. Like, RimWorld has cave-ins, right? But the ceiling caves in when it reaches an arbitrary amount of stress based on the number of tiles on the floor. So it's like, it doesn't really, like, it's not a realistic cave-in. Like, I think one of the few games that I could think of that actually has, like, semi-realistic cave-ins would be, like, Red Faction, but... Remember Red Faction, chat? Does anybody remember Red Faction? Man, Red Faction was cool. Especially Red Faction Guerrilla. That was a fun game. Wonder how well that game ages. I did pick up the remastered version a couple of years ago, and now I'm wondering. Like, is Red Faction any good in the current year? I just remember that black hole launcher and the sledgehammer just being ridiculously satisfying. Just walking up and very carefully... Like, I remember watching this interview about the development of Red Faction Guerrilla, and hearing that they had to redesign all of the buildings and structures when they implemented their physics system because everything just fell over is just amazing to me. And the fact that they actually had to hire a architect to help them design their in-game buildings because they needed them to not fall over. The humans have arrived to trade, which is very helpful, actually. Do I even have anything I can trade to them, though? Not really. Spoilers. Plenty of menacing wooden spikes. Meaning the dwarves are going to run out here real quick and go grab some menacing wooden spikes. And run all of those menacing wooden spikes into there. There's too much, though. Do I still have a meeting zone down here? Why are you down here? I do not have a meeting zone. Why is that dwarf there? And Pink Fluffy Llama, this is either good news or terrible news. You've been taken by a mood. Pink Fluffy Llama runs over and claims a mason shop. And very quickly you dash over to the stuff pile and you grab a bunch of ore and stones. You must have bones. Rock. Bones. Rock. Okay, you need bones. Meaning we're gonna butcher a cow or butcher an alpaca. Request my trader to the depot to go do the trading. Who's my trader? Our trader is Darren, who is currently delighted after watching a performance, but feels bitter after getting into an argument, was exhilarated after performing, and feels fondness remembering speaking with a friend. Seems like a good mood to go trade, I would say. Currently, you're conducting a meeting, probably with the human diplomat, I'd assume. Yes, with the human diplomat. On behalf of the Merchants Guild, says the human diplomat, I extend my greetings to your people. There is much to discuss. There is much to share. We have information for your civilization and world info. What requests do you have of our merchants? That's a good question. I'm leaning just metals, but also at the same time, kind of don't just need metals. Let's just say, bring us iron anvils. And iron bars. And they say, let's discuss what we're willing to offer you for your craftsmanship. Man, they really want cheese and bucklers. Cheese and bucklers! Also ammunition. I guess that checks out. On behalf of the Merchants Guild, let me bid farewell to you and your stout dwarves, says the humans. Make them wooden ammunition. Trader's coming to trade at the depot. Here it comes. Following the Royal Treasurer. I guess the Royal Treasurer is giving him directions. It's helpful. Ah, jeez. Wrong button. Hit R instead of T. Now, I don't know what I bought last time, so we're just going to buy cloth from them currently. And it's quite literally like an in case of mood, buy cloth. Always buy cloth in the early game. Also going to buy some cheese from them for food reasons. It's a good metal emote. Oddly similar to mine, though. It's neat, actually, how similar it is to mine. I was like, wow, that looks kind of like mine, but at a different angle. Got, like, the same finger texture. A couple books in here, which I will pick up. That's it for trading. Seems like someone's stealing my theme, Pink. I had it first. Telling you. It's actually kind of funny. Like, there's been a couple channels in the past that have, like, picked up the skeleton theme. And every time I'm like, I was there first! My thief! I've outlasted every single one of them, though. Every single one I've ever found out about has, like, quit streaming within a couple of years. My skeletons are eternal. You just got an advert for Tim Hortons? Really? That is weird that they're trying so hard to expand into UK. Okay, well this fisher is useless. So instead of you fishing, hold on a second. Where the fuck are you going to go fish? You know what? We need a guinea pig to die first if we get invaded, so you over here can have a much more useful job. You can be a farmer. You can have butchery. But, something I should check. No one is currently slaughtering the alpaca. All right, so that was the right thing to do. You don't see it working out for them, but who knows? It's a generic coffee shop with donuts. It's one of those, like, how hard could that business be to fuck up? But yet they manage to do that here in Canada all the time, so pretty easy, I guess, is the answer, is how hard that business is to fuck up. You want to open a coffee shop? Well, should do so now before Tim Hortons takes all the business. Which they won't. I don't really know if the UK is like starving for coffee shops or anything. Coffee and donuts, but also sausage rolls. So literally vastly superior in every way. There's Tim Hortons in your local hockey arena. Yeah, apparently Tim Hortons is like trying to go global for some stupid reason. I don't know. Their coffee's like subpar and their donuts are kind of terrible. So, How you doing, Ryan? Speaking of Ryan, you probably missed this, but I'm thinking of going down to streaming 3 days a week, but as an effort to like actually have a decent work-life balance, because right now I really don't. Do you have any idea how much effort it is to run a cat or pet cafe? It's ridiculously large amounts of effort. Also, Ryan, thank you very much for keeping that sub alive for a 52nd month. Welcome back, dude. I hope that you've been all right. I feel like I haven't seen you in like 3 weeks, so. Hope shit's been good. Roger, what's up? Good to see you. Once we build out more walls. Just working a lot? I mean, that's good. Better than, like, the eternal unemployment that you seemed to have for a long time. Okay, dwarves are putting blocks away, and I can unsuspend both of those. Those is a G. I mean, independent ones are generally better than chains like Tim Hortons, so. You work, come home, maybe play some games, go to sleep, rinse, repeat. Yeah, pretty much. I can relate to that work-life loop, but right now it's just becoming negative overall, so. It's just become a negative overall, and so I need to sort out the problem. Yubel, Pink Fluffy Llama, the Mason has created Sheshkilrum, a Garnerite weapon rack, which is actually super useful, and claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor English Canyon Parched. Congratulations. You made our first weapon rack. It's almost valueless. It's worth 10,000 Zethal. It's called Tip Peaks the Tan Letter. Hope you enjoy your lurks, Roger. Naming things was not your strong suit. I think it's a pretty good dwarfy name. The value of it, however, is a little... this is a Garnerite weapon rack. All craft store ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with cushioned Garnerite cabochons and encircled with bands of round Garnerite cabochons and alpaca bone. This object menaces with spikes of Garnerite. Oh, yeah. Just gonna plop it up here and get the military training up there. Not that there's much of them right now, but... Pardon me, Elomino? Is that you naming something because it's not your strong suit? It is indeed a priceless Hamley Fairloom. I don't know why I say Hamley Fairloom. I started doing that recently, and it actually kind of annoys me a little bit. Well, I mean, you'd have to add both the word Shrek and the word lasagna in order for an artifact to be named that. I could put the note Shrek lasagna on it, but why would I do that? Because I don't think Shrek is currently a word in the Dwarven language, considering the dwarves don't even have a word for dwarf right now. They don't know what they are. They just know that they are something, but they don't have a word for it. So by that logic, I'm assuming that they have a grasp of their own existence, but that's about it. Oh, I understand now. That's how you're pronouncing the dwarfy name version of it, but poorly pronounced? I don't know how you would get Shrek lasagna out of Sheski Ilrom Lazan Lolar, but okay. It clearly says Sheski, not Shrekski. Not to be confused with Jetski. You're skipping and adding a lot of letters. It's almost like you wrote something that is completely unrelated to it for the sake of a meme. And you know what? I respect it. The effort is admirable. That's the sound that the music is making with this bit. All right, that right there can probably be connected. Probably. I don't even know where I put the lever for the doors. I know I have a lever that locks the gates. Just not sure where I put it. Like, all of these mechanisms are connected to one. I know I did it. It's just where did I put it? Like, I don't think I put it in the old fort down here. Where in the world? Not in the tavern. Not along the top here. Oh, that's probably it. I should highlight that a little bit. Your what nows? That doesn't sound good. Right, yeah. Well, I mean, naturally, but I mean, I would generally assume that scars would feel strange. Like they have a funky texture to them. Well, I guess I think I understand how I have to do this. How do I feel about the key placement and designations being removed? I won't really have a feel until I've tried it, you know? I'm sure Tarn is making the right decision, and we'll see it when we play it. That's kind of my take on all of the changes right now is like, you can't really make Dwarf Fortress more obtuse, so I don't see any negatives, really. I know a lot of people are going, but my hotkeys, I don't have to relearn them. It's fine, you'll relearn them. We learned them once, we'll learn them again. That's kind of my take. I don't know. Don't know how popular that is, but that's kind of been my take for a while. I mean, what do you think of it? Honestly. I mean, I've kind of just resigned myself to the fact that I'm going to have to relearn all the hotkeys at this point. But my muscles, they remember. I'm having to like remind myself what Mookles means. Oh yeah, I mean like as long as the underlying game for itself is still the same, like I don't care. I'm not that big of a I'm not that much of a purist when it comes to that sort of stuff. It's like if the game changes, the game changes. Everything in Dwarf Fortress has always been placeholder. And everything will continue to be placeholder, and stuff is always going to be subject to change. That's the way I've kind of always played Dwarf Fortress, and it's the way I think I always will, so it doesn't really bother me. Because that's always kind of been the caveat of Dwarf Fortress from the two lovely gentlemen who make this game. Is that everything is a work in progress, everything is subject to change, and everything is unfinished. There's vultures attacking. That's not good. That's a lot of ammunition. But yes, things will change, but Dwarf Fortress will still be Dwarf Fortress. And I think that where I disagree with maybe the hardcore community is that I don't think that the strictly keyboard controls are a I'm trying to think of the right wording for this. I think that there is a difference between Dwarf Fortress ceasing to be Dwarf Fortress because it's too casualified and Dwarf Fortress becoming a better version of itself. I think that this is currently Dwarf Fortress becoming a better version of itself. But that's just my take. It probably will slow down my gameplay for a while, though. I will say that. But it's not going to change my creativity. It's not going to change the way I build forts. It's not going to... It'll be a workflow change, not a gameplay change, if that makes any sense. And I don't think that's a problem. Not a huge fan of using the mouse more. Neither am I. I don't like using the mouse for games. But... Besides, have they like stated specifically that key-based direction is being removed? I don't remember seeing that. If I missed it, please point me at it. But the term removed, I don't think I've seen. I've seen changed, and changed, I think, is the word that I've seen. But I don't believe I've seen any official word from Zach and Tarn that key support is being removed, or placement support for keys is being removed. Did he say that? Because I was present for that interview, but I swear I was anyway. But I don't know. For me, like it doesn't bother me. Not a concern. I mean, as long as there's some keyboard shortcuts, I don't like playing games entirely mouse-driven, and I don't mind playing games entirely keyboard-driven. I need a combination. Tanning, butchery, and gathering. Dream of attaining a rank in society. It lacks confidence in his abilities and is always ambitious and looking for a way to better his situation. I need military. I don't know. For me, like they've always been kind of like neither here nor there on whether or not there will be keyboard options. So like I said, I'm just waiting until I see it. But I don't know. I forget things that were said in interviews that I was in all the time. So like that's not too uncommon. Like, when I'm running those interviews, I'm barely paying any attention to what they're saying. I'm just trying to keep the conversation going and moderate chat. Like, that's my job in those interviews. It's not so much the other sense. Tends to be passive in discussions and doesn't focus on material goods. But like something like Odd Realm, as an example, controls just fine. And if it controls half as well as Odd Realm, then I'm not worried. Passive in discussions. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna toss you into the military, Carpenter. Toss you into the military. A Weaver at the back here. Dreams of raising a family. Somewhat quarrelsome. Bothered by this. Values family. Almost never sick, but flimsy. You two can join the military. I don't think I have any weapons, really. Creating a great work of art. Finds humor in most situations. Is an optimist. Dislikes abstract discussions. Is strong. Discouraged. Clings tightly to abstractions. Also joining the military. How about you? Woodcrafter. Dreams of mastering a skill. Utterly fearless when confronted by danger. Join the military. That was an easy one. How about you? You're a bone doctor. And censoring when interviewees fuck up, yes. Which was very amusing and still is very amusing to me. Yeah, it might have been under the Steam Deck support section. I mean, I'll take your word for it. Like, if you can find it, I believe you. But I don't, like I said, I don't have any strict feelings because the game is changing so much in the way that we interact with it that, like, until I've played it, I don't really have feelings. Like, I can look at screenshots and, like, theoretical ways of how a thing's going to play all day, and it means nothing. It doesn't mean anything until I've tried it. What things do you like? What materials do you like? Picks, laceogate, and breastplates, and boxes and bags. Splints. Let's put you into all these. And farming fields. Baby alpaca showed up. Any other animals? None that I'm seeing. I don't know. Are you asking if they're going to have Steam Deck support? Because that was asked, and the answer is probably. But assuming it's capable of running the thing. But it's not something they're really thinking about right now. It'll probably run. That's my statement on Steam Deck support, is that it'll probably run. Hey, we got a baby. Katanen, the planter, has given birth to a baby boy. So, as always, if anybody wants a dwarf in this fort, just give me a shout. Got plenty of options, too. All right, let's work on these outer walls some more. I can tell you right now that that it was asked. Give me the baby. Give me the baby! Why can't I type today? My keyboard's like a centimeter to the left and it's fucking with me. I feel like everybody is currently like skimming through that interview right now. Is a citizen of the Crimson Pulley. Member of the denomination of Embraces. And is a member of the Halls of Defending. His hair is quite dense and his very long sideburns are neatly combed. His long mustache is in double braids and his medium-length beard is arranged in double braids. My modem just made a sound. Swear to Christ, if you disconnect again, I will come over there and unplug you and plug you back in again. Nah. Anyway, his medium-length beard is arranged in double braids, and his very long hair is neatly combed. His broad body is slightly close set, and his heliotrope eyes are very round. His nose is slightly upturned, and his hair is black, and his skin is dark peach. He's a baby, so I'm not going to read all of his likes and dislikes, but he personally does not respect the law and dislikes cooperation. Well, yeah, duh, he's a baby. And finds the pursuit of knowledge to be a waste of effort. Well, of course he's a baby. And dreams of crafting a masterwork someday. Likes his Legos. Welcome to the fort, Mark. So this is no longer a temple. We're going to make our temple up here for right now. But later this will... Shade of Depression. Is that really the name of my temple? Wow. My temple is called the Shade of Depression. Anyway, the Shade of Depression is now over here. We've moved it. Hopefully he doesn't get thrown down the stairs by his mom this time, you mean. Oh, would you look at that? The rough company of bodices has many members in Mothfall and now requires a guild hall. The location must be built and furnished. A craft store guild. All right, well, I was going to construct a building here anyway. Guess we'll work on that. Problem with a lot of these constructions is like, well, now I have to build this in a pretty short period of time. But yeah, when it comes to a lot of very fine details about Steam Premium, I just don't worry. And that's the way I've been with all games when they release. Is like, there's certain things that I just don't bother myself with because I just kind of have faith that the people making the thing are doing good work and will continue to do good work. And I have pretty good faith that Zach and Tarn are indeed doing good work and are improving upon the game, and keyboard control is not something that is like need or die as a DF feature for me. It's nice and I like it, but it's not going to kill me if it's not at the level that it was in the premium version. Far from it, in fact. I will be okay. But was anybody here able to find the exact quote? Because I have a feeling you guys have just been digging for the last 6 minutes. You're still searching? Well, best of luck. Let me know when you find it. I was going to say, I think Whitcode already found it. Do you have the exact pull quote, Whitcode, or? Because then we can talk about that if you want. I mean, the more mouse support, the better for most people. Also, the better for people who, you know, can't use a keyboard due to disabilities is definitely a positive. It would be really cool to see people like Steven Spawn, just as an example, be able to play the game. I was listening to an episode of the DF Roundtable podcast, and they mentioned never using the J screen, and I don't know how they live. Screen is so useful. They didn't say that there wouldn't be keyboard controls, though, I don't think, did they? As they said that the game is entirely playable with a mouse. That's all that that means. That doesn't mean that there isn't going to be keyboard controls. All right, well, there you go. Well, I mean, you can get to the manager screen by hitting U. Jobs screen and the manager screen are both linked in that way. So you can go to jobs screen manager, or you can go to unit screen manager. I usually go unit screen manager. Well, see, I don't recall that bit. So I'm not going to say that you're wrong, because I know for a fact I forget things that are in the interviews I do. But I do not remember him stating that he was removing selection keys for designations. I don't recall that, but I may have forgotten. So once all of this is placed, I can designate this as the Craft Guild Hall. We can do more bedrooms underneath it too. In fact, we can do more bedrooms from right here, which will actually be quite helpful. Why did they cancel all those floors? I guess they just weren't able to figure out how to path through the walls that appeared there. That or there was people standing on the walls. Door is coming. Oh, there's door. I feel so bad for this chameleon person. Chameleon people are tiny. This tiny little chameleon person is carrying this giant dwarven wooden door. Poor guy. All right, I'm going to set this as a flow zone. And we're going to add a guild hall, which is going to be a craftsmith's guild. The Loot of Pillars. Sounds like a name. Statue, rock, 10. Well, let's do 10 rock statues. We're going to make them out of the nice colored one. And I'm going to specify an image. I'm going to make them out of Yuma, because Yuma's definitely in this guild. Also, Rhinestone, I would like you to know that your dwarf in the last fort quite literally became the dwarven Sherlock Holmes, and literally all you did for, I don't know, give or take a decade, was run around and interrogate dwarves. That's literally all you did, is you ran around interrogating people, because what kept happening was whenever things would be all right for a little bit, we would very quickly realize that it was in fact not all right, and there was another vampire in the fort or some other various shenanigan. So you were kind of our the dwarven equivalent of Sherlock Holmes in our fort for a bit. It was a good time. Did you die to a punch in the face? I can't remember how you died, but I know that you died. What ended up happening is various saboteurs organized a very successful coup in the fort, and we went from like 160 dwarves down to about 40. A lot of dwarves died, and also a lot of bards and visitors and mercenaries who were in the fighting also died. But it was a good way to end the fort. So Hotbeards ended in violence. However, Hotbeards is now flourishing with a very massive population of 600, so Hotbeards is doing very well. What is the value of this area? 6.2? Okay, so those should get done first. The word here is should. I'm also going to make another stone stockpile right here. Yes, stone, we're making another stockpile for you. I hope you're happy. Except this one is not going to allow any metal ores. It's going to be a lot of dwarves storing stuff in stockpiles for a sec. But once they get the wheelbarrows placed there, it'll be a lot better. And now would be the worst time for us to get attacked. I actually have an axe equipped. You do not. Thoughts on wheelbarrows? I use them? What other thoughts is there to have? If you're thinking I'm gonna have like a tech-hood level of analytical, thoughtful response, I don't have one. I mean, if you missed it, I did state verbally that I'm assigning wheelbarrows to this, but the initial wave of dwarves are just gonna run down there and then run back up once they realize that wheelbarrows have been assigned. So I did assign 3 wheelbarrows to this, and I do have 3 wheelbarrows assigned to that one. So what thoughts am I supposed to have? I don't know. It's like you've asked me for thoughts on something that like I already like stated that I was bringing wheelbarrows up to deal with. So I'm a little lost on the through line here. Oh, you missed it? Okay, that explains it. Because I did definitely state, I'm like, yeah, bring wheelbarrows up, otherwise this is going to take too long. Or something like that. But I did say that like seconds before you asked that question. See, here comes the wheelbarrows. Usually I make wheelbarrows out of featherweight because they're out of featherwood because they're so light. Sometimes I'll even import featherwood specifically to make those. I'm very confused about something that I just got posted on a Discord that I'm in. Whatever. Irrelevant. Still making spiked wooden balls for trade. Literally my only industry currently. So how about this? Instead of being like, this isn't a pet peeve, but like the least answerable questions on the internet are the thoughts on thing. I don't fucking know. Do you have any thoughts on them? It's like the most open-ended, most non-question you can possibly ask a person is thoughts on thing. So how about instead of asking that, you tell me what you think of wheelbarrows? What do you think of wheelbarrows? Add something to this discussion instead of just stating thoughts on thing. Because otherwise it's going to be a 10-second long discussion that ends almost immediately. How so? I think that they allow you to keep your garden pretty neat. Neat and tidy. You got your wheel, you got your barrow, you got your barrel, you got your... Bleh. I'll hurt you, Mark. I don't have any thoughts. You have to actually like start a conversation instead of just saying thoughts on thing. Sorry, you got to put in more effort than that if you want me to talk to you about things. It's like not quite a pet peeve, but it's almost a pet peeve because of how low effort, non-question a thoughts on thing is. Unless there's already a conversation about something similar or related already going, and it's like a, hey, could you elaborate on this thing that you mentioned? Unless it's in that format, thoughts on thing is like a complete non-conversation. So I actually like try to avoid answering those sometimes because it's, especially if they pop up in YouTube comments, because it's just like, Speak about thing. It's like, I'm not here to give you a fucking TED Talk. Can you expand on your thoughts and questions of the form, what are your thoughts on? I literally just did. Thoughts on changing the subject, Elamino? Because I'm trying to explain that this is not a way of communicating that I like doing. It's funny because there was somebody who came by this stream quite frequently for a little bit there, but would always just do that. Would just be like, thoughts on this, and then like seconds later, thoughts on this, and it was always non-conversations, and it would just like kill the chat because I just sit here getting more and more and more annoyed at the fact that we can't have a functioning conversation. It's just you guys, like, this isn't a fucking AMA. This is like a conversation. This is a stream. This is a back and forth. We need multiple takes and opinions. Yes, wheelbarrows can carry bins. I don't really use minecarts because they're just not worth the effort, usually. Like, yes, they speed up clearing shit out of a space, but by the time you've built it, I could have moved that shit out. And how you enjoying it, Stone? I wanted to stream Jupiter Hell, but not as many people wanted to watch Jupiter Hell, so... We're playing Dwarfs instead. Makes me sad. You should. That current patch is great. Wet code. It is great. Like, it's great. It's really, really good. You do that. Go enjoy your dog. Go enjoy being home. Audio. Cheers, man. Let's remove that last one. One thing that was very strange that happened to me once, Amigo, was I had a wheelbarrow with dozens and dozens and dozens of bins in it, and it got placed in this trading stockpile because I tried to trade all wheelbarrows, and I had a wheelbarrow that was worth like $1 billion Dwarf bucks. It was in the millions. I don't remember the exact number of zeros, but I had one wheelbarrow that was just worth a ludicrous amount. I'm like, I don't have any artifact wheelbarrows. What the fuck's happening? It was a wheelbarrow with like 10,000 crafts in it. All like inside of a bin with multiple bins of them. I had to like expand and like find the item and like select it with the look key to like actually figure out what was in it and why it was worth so much. Because in the trading screen, it just said wheelbarrow. Like, the trading screen can't, like, expand what's in a wheelbarrow. It just says wheelbarrow. I mean, it wasn't bins and bins and bins and bins. It was, like, wheelbarrow with bin in it. But it wasn't quite binception multiple levels deep like you're suggesting. It was a little bit less exciting than that. Autumn has come. I mean, the early game's better now, so there's more to enjoy, even if you don't get far. So yeah, I guess what I'll do tomorrow is I'll put out a more coherent update unlike the one that went up on the Patreon. In a video format, which is just going to talk about the new schedule and the reasoning behind it. Which will go up on YouTube, probably on Saturday, I think. Aim for. Probably on YouTube. Autumn has officially come. They say the winter is coming, but everybody's gangster until autumn shows up. Man, it makes me sad that this dwarf didn't bring their hammer. Like, this dwarf brought a shield and some leggings, but didn't bring their hammer. Come on, dwarf, you can bring a hammer. All right, let's throw these statues in here. Let's hope that these have high enough value. And we're going to do this on both sides. Actually, I'm just going to wait. See if we can increase the value of that spot. By just putting statues in it. We'll get the roof up there once we actually have the blocks for it. We need the blocks first. Chat investments are open if you want to invest your tickets. But yeah, that I guess is kind of just where my head's been at recently. I don't really know what else to say at this point in regards to scheduling stuff, unless anybody has questions about it, but another thing that I guess I can kind of also state is I have an interview tomorrow with the developer of Odd Realm. That's happening tomorrow. So I get to talk to him about his new patch, which I still need to prep for properly. So are you carrying a giant skink? Yeah, okay. I was wondering if it was giant skink or a giant snail. We are literally living off of giant skink meat. That's kind of awesome. Apparently, a streaming platform I've never heard of just shut down. Interesting. Apparently, this streaming platform that launched after Mixer died just died. Funny how that works. Confused as to who this dwarf is. You're going to join the military. Are you not, like, permanent resident? Gonna try it tonight? Hell yeah. It's a good patch, let me tell you. I might even play some more of that tonight, depending on how stream goes today. But it depends on how things go today here. All right, let's do all of that. Because we're going to do 2 Z-level high ceilings. Because obviously, you know, the guild hall needs high ceilings, right? It'd be kind of insulting if the guild hall didn't get high ceilings. So we've got to give them the proper high ceilings. We also need a fishery, which I definitely don't have right now. You all connected. Yes, you are. I'm going to pull that lever. Please. I'm going to put a door in here. Also going to put a dumping zone right there. Garbage dump. And then we are going to get rid of all of the refuse that's on the map. But yeah, I'm very curious to hear what you think of Odd Realm. Also, I probably asked you this yesterday, but are you planning on working on your game anymore? Like post 7-day RL? Support comment on the YouTube channel has referred to it as another one of the weird ones. So apparently I've been playing particularly weird games recently, so congrats, you've officially made a weird game. According to my YouTube comments section. More tiles coming in. Hello, Cost Lord, how are you? Small break, gotcha. Gonna do bug fixes? I'd be really keen to try it again. Once said bug fixes make it in. Or once there's like a visible like damage indicator on screen. If you can just like cram a damage indicator in there somewhere, I'll definitely try it again. Also, damn stone. It's a big win. Good job. Top of the to-do list? Hell yeah. Who would publish their game that needs bugs that have bugs that need fixing? Tarn Adams. So it's okay. You're in good company. But Cost Lord, have you seen or tried out any of the new Jupiter Hell stuff? It's my god, it's good. My god, it's good, dude. The dwarves have arrived. I really hope that we were able to make some more menacing spikes. Like 3 wagons, guards, of course, our Aban, Whip Bash, the liaison. We're gonna go down to trap components. Not a lot of balls, fortunately. You're finishing the actual endgame now? Good stuff. Little time you play games, you focus on Underrail. That's been on my list of games to play for such a long time. One of these days I'll get to it. Linking random YouTube videos, are we? Without any context. What's that? Or is that the time slot? I just want the text quote. I'm not going to open up the video. Yeah, I bought Underrail at like 50% off. But what's the quote? Just give me the quote. Don't link the video. I'm not going to open it. Whoa. So that throws me off because we have these. Oh, these are all ostriches. Okay, I thought some of these were trees. Look at this army of ostriches up here. They look like trees. Also, some migrants are arriving, which is fun. We have a goose. Legendary glassmaker. Dreams of mastering a skill and is vengeful and never forgives past grievances. You can join the military. You're a blacksmith? That's good. Yeah, if you would like to assist with that previous discussion, give me a time, like, give me like the actual quote itself, not just a timestamp to it. Because then I'll be able to actually like discuss it if you tell me what the content is exactly. Yeah, and I'm just like repeating the same thing because that's where my brain's at right now while I'm doing other things in the background. Don't mind me too much. I don't think I can really afford much because none of this stuff's worth all that much. Buy the iron and steel. Guess probably we'll have to just start making tin crafts is really the situation that we're going to end up in. But you know what? Yeah, I don't really need the books right now. What I do need is some weapons, though, so... Or rather, what I do need is more materials, so we're going to trade for these anvils instead. We don't have a completely other way of doing things like designations, for instance. We don't want to have the system where you're moving a cursor with the keyboard. When you got the mouse, it works better, and it's just kind of completely better. Yeah, because it is. And there are some people that may disagree with that statement, but I don't know what their argument is. Yeah, and I agree with him. Like, straight up, I agree with him. Okay. That is a slight improvement right there. But yes, to me that makes a lot of sense, actually. It does. But, you know. That's a lot of vengeful. Really would like you to stop fishing, though. Please go do anything else. Like weaving and clothes making, leatherworking, or weapon smithing, or stone working. Like, just go do anything else. Quit fishing. Alright. We're up to 56 dwarves now. I think you are extrapolating too much out of that. They are not removing keyboard-based movement. That's not really... We don't want to have a system where you're moving around a cursor with a keyboard. I don't read anywhere in there that they're removing it. I simply read that they don't want to have that system. I don't think that those two things are necessarily the same thing. But like I said, don't worry yourself too much. Things can and will change. That's always been the way of Dwarf Fortress, and it will always be the way of Dwarf Fortress. So if you're worried about it, if you're particularly worried about it, my advice is to... Ooh. Old Hotbeard's military member. Join the military, please. If you're worried about changes, just know that they're going to happen, and that's all there really is to it. Right? So just don't worry and don't stress. Just remember that everything in Dwarf Fortress is subject to change. You know, like, I was going back and listening to old interviews, or not interviews, but I've been listening to the old DF Talk episodes, listening through the whole back catalog, and there was a time when Tarn said, absolutely not, I will never look into making graphics for the game. It's just not something I'm interested in. Things change. Time goes. Game will be fine. They're just, like, completely obliterating those poor vultures. All of these little bolts, crossbow bolts, are just being fired out at these vultures. Where's one of these vultures? Yeah, they're just, like, flying over top of those dwarves and just getting wrecked. I think that pink is just extrapolating too much. But you will be using the mouse for a lot of things in Premium and ASCII in the future. Like, it's going to happen. I am your liaison from the Mountain Homes. Let's discuss your situation. There's much to share. We've updated your civilization and world info. God, my neighbors above me are loud. What request do you have of our merchants? I would really like... bronze bars, copper bars, silver bars, iron bars. It's like, I have worries about the Steam version, but none of them are about controls. I think my biggest worry would be the current audience rejecting the Steam version. For whatever reason. You can't even request adamantine, I don't think. All right. Don't need anything else. Damn, they want a lot of stuff from me. Handwear. Don't see that all that often. Amulets, rings, blocks, and crutches. We'll just make you a bunch of crafts. Okay. And they say, farewell, Nox, and they look forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes rise and fall together. Looks like Nox is indeed maintaining their position of importance in the fortress, which is neat. And I'm going to claim all of these bolts that the dwarves here keep on firing very conveniently so that I can steal. Let's win here. Which one of these can I remove? Which ones do I need to add on to? I need to put you here. I can do this. But yeah, I think that at the end of the day, people who play this game a lot just need to remember what Tarn has always said, which is everything is subject to change. Anyway, I need a different topic, chat. Give me a different topic. I need a start line. Give me somewhere to go from here, because I'm just repeating myself, and me repeating myself is not entertaining. I've learned this over the years. Llamas? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about, because that's not how you spell llama. But Emperor's New Groove is a good movie. Next question. Although Emperor's New Groove is maybe an underrated movie now, not just a good movie, because that sequel was so awful. I feel like some people kind of forgot about that movie, but my God, that movie was good. Like, that movie is genuinely hilarious. From that person moaning about my audio? In YouTube comments? No. Not after my last retort. They basically just complained about how amateur my audio is and then advised that I get all of the equipment that I already have. And my response was, what? Do you want me to, like, swap out my $200 microphone with a $500 microphone? Like, what exactly could I do to make my audio better? And that was where the discussion ended. No. I didn't really expect them to respond after that. I'm just not used to people, like, saying that my audio is terrible. Like, that's not a piece of criticism that I'm used to getting. I mean, maybe they're right. Maybe my audio is terrible. I don't know. Yeah, it has little to do with price and everything to do with setup. But, like, they suggested that I get, like, audio foam, and I don't know what's on that wall behind me if not audio foam, so. There's shit like that. They're like, maybe, like, you could get yourself a, hold on. They said that I could get a better microphone, a better microphone stand, and an audio interface. Which, I don't know. Also, hey, man, what's up? I've gaslit you into thinking it sounds good? I mean, I'm not trying to. Even for joke's sake, like, that's not good to do. You're good mostly? I don't think anybody who is an adult on Earth right now is 100% good. Everybody's a little on edge. Whether it's politics, war, natural disasters. Speaking of, like, fucking Japan just, like, scaring the planet with, like, yo, fucking earthquakes, by the way. Like, yesterday was a weird day to wake up, because, like, I get up, I sit down at my computer, I start setting up for stream, and I look at the news, and it's like, Japan's having earthquakes. I'm like, I haven't even had my coffee yet. What the fuck? Calm down. Stop trying to end the world before I get out of bed in the morning. But dental work just means the future will be better, generally. It means that the current sucks, and then later down the line, your mouth will feel better, which is good. So to me, that seems like a good thing. Yeah, but I'm talking about after the expensive bit. Like, I have to pay taxes right now, right? Which is expensive. But that's fine. Because then I will have healthcare in the future. So, it's fine. Paying my taxes is cheaper than paying for American healthcare, so I will gladly keep paying my taxes. But it's also a lot of money. It's like 2 months worth of what I get paid, generally. Isn't everything cheaper than American healthcare? Chat, I need something that's more expensive than American healthcare. A Bitcoin is probably more expensive than most things in American healthcare. A Bored Ape is more expensive than American healthcare. A ticket to the moon is more expensive than American healthcare. Most countries are probably more expensive than American healthcare. Elon Musk's debt is more expensive than American healthcare. Depends on the car, man. Depends on the car. Like, I don't know. You could get a brand new car for $20,000, depending on the car you get. The reason all these jobs keep getting canceled is because these fucking buzzards. Like, it's legit just the buzzards. I don't know what 10,000 Zethal is in dollars, so it may or may not be more expensive than your heirloom creation in the fort. I don't know what YATE is. Did you mean to write yacht? Because that too. I mean, who else is going to pay for those poor, broke politicians' yachts, if not your tax money? I mean, come on, someone has to. Yeah, have you like seen those fucking like repair fees on boats? It's like, shit's a nightmare, man. If anything, we should pay taxes more often so that they can buy more yachts. I can't tell you how fortunate I feel sometimes living in a country that is not completely obliterated with corruption. I can't even tell you. It's like, you know, we have our problems like everywhere does, but certainly not the worst. Oh god, haven't finished this yet. Yeah. But, you know, comes with the territory, right? Did you hear a while ago when some of our MPs over here complicated the 80k pound salary wasn't enough? To be honest, I don't keep up with British politics much, so no. But that certainly does sound like politicians complaining that they don't get paid enough after they like intentionally screw people over doesn't sound too far out of character. But like I said, I pay attention to my country's politics more than most, and more detailed, smaller things like that, smaller bits like that I wouldn't hear about unless I happened to hear it on the BBC that week, which I don't generally listen to these days. Also, to be completely fair, 80,000 pound salary is almost gibberish to me because I don't even know what like living wage is. I know approximately what the value of a pound to a Canadian dollar is because like Canadian dollar is like, you know, about, I don't know, a gram. So based on like the weight of a pound versus like the weight of a gram, obviously it's worth a lot more. But even by that logic, I don't know. You just get 30K a year. Yeah, like I said, that still doesn't mean anything because I don't know how much living wage is. Example, I don't know how much bread costs. Does that make sense? So none of these numbers mean anything because I don't know how much shit costs in the UK. Like, none of these numbers mean anything. I don't know how much bus passes are, don't know how much gas is, don't know how much cars are, don't know how much food costs, how much my daily avocado spread on my toast costs. I don't actually eat avocados daily, okay? They're a treat for me. I don't know how much beer costs. I don't know. So, like, wage amounts without any other details doesn't actually mean anything. Like, you can just say the numbers, but they're just numbers without the context of the actual value of the currency. It's like, by this logic, you could be like, yeah, well, teachers in Japan make 7,000 billion massive, humongous, crazy number of yen per year. It's like, sure. But how much is a train ticket to get to work, you know? Oh, so New York prices then. I get you. You know, I think that it would be much more logical if you changed your currency from the British pound to kilograms, because like it just kilos are it's you know, the whole metric imperial argument, much better. Never be in London. This is why I say just don't live in downtown Vancouver. Live in the greater Vancouver area. I completely agree with the never live in the downtown of the big city statement. I still think that you guys should change your currency to kilograms instead of pounds. I mean, for one thing, it doesn't sound even remotely dirty, and also is heavier, so it'll have a higher value. Have I run this joke into the ground yet, or should I switch to something different? Or should I keep going with it? Because if I were to run for office in the UK, my standing would be to change the name of the currency from pounds to kilograms. Pound into the ground? I mean, I think I've already done that, Frank. Do. Look at those dwarves. Doing the good work. And there goes that. Basically what I'm saying, chat, is I need new tangents, so give me a new tangent. Gotta help fuel me here. You know, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a child. I'm an adult. So I know nothing about Lego Ninjago. It exists. I mean, I don't watch or play games that involve loot boxes and gambling, so no thoughts on CSGO, sorry. Is it? I work in games, and the Lego games, from what I can tell, just seem to be the same game over and over and over and over and over again that you know are good enough that it'll keep your child entertained and not offensive in any way. Popular? I don't know about that. Yes, Whitcode. That's all I have to say to that is yes. Because that's math. Math, I don't... Brain. I don't have the brain for math. My intelligence is far too low to understand math. Unfortunately, I didn't put enough points into that category when I was a child. That's a color? That sounds like an alcoholic beverage. It's just empty fun. I mean, no, because like the cool Lego for me is like the Lego architecture stuff. So I think that those little kitty sets are like, but that's just me. So I don't think it's fun. Boring and uninteresting, generic ninja bullshit. I don't know what a kaki is. If it's a fruit. I believe it's a fruit. What do I think the next Elder Scrolls game will be called? Garbage Fire! That's what I think it'll be called. Oh, what they'll title it? Well, I mean, I think people will call it a Garbage Fire because that's what it'll be. But, for what it's called, I don't know. I don't care. Marketing, what it'll be called. Realistically, they should call it Skyrim 2. What? An ugly tomato? I want to Google the fruit kaki. What the fuck's that? What? Okay, number one. We call those persimmons, not kakis. These are persimmons. Or at least that's what we call them. Persimmons. They are an ugly tomato though. Very tasty. Very common in Dwarf. Are persimmons delicious? They have a very mild flavor, but I like them. Different languages, but yeah. They actually grow quite happily here, oddly enough. Hey, Abel Bacon. Bethesda doesn't make sequels, they make new games each release. They pretend that. I would also just say that Bethesda doesn't make good games. Skyrim was 1000% just a follow-up to Oblivion. They had mechanical differences because of how far apart they were, but they were Skyrim was absolutely a sequel to Oblivion. Absolutely. You cannot change my mind on that. I played both of those games. That was very much a follow-up. Also, Fallout 3, well, Fallout 3, Fallout 4 is literally a Fallout follow-up. There's too many That's hard to say. Just like all of the games that they make, Abel Bacon. The thing is, like, back in the day, it was kind of okay for an RPG to kind of feel a little bit dead because all games felt a little bit dead because the amount of density you could actually have in cities and whatnot due to technology constraints was lower. But as the technology has gotten better, Bethesda games have not. So they really need to impress me with a game that I have no intention to play. Starfield. They really need to impress with Starfield for me to be even remotely interested in another fantasy RPG. Like, it quite literally needs to be the best game of all time, but I'm expecting more Cyberpunk than best game of all time, you know? I'm expecting more Cyberpunk than Elden Ring, and it's in the way people are going to respond to that. I don't know how many of them are actually fighting, but I know that they're volunteering with the relief efforts at the very least. Abel Bacon. That's not the only game in that situation. A game I actually really don't like, which is Stone Shard is in a weird position because like the company that makes that game is Polish. So some of the developers are in Poland, but the majority of the team is actually in was centered in Kiev for that game. So like the majority of their workforce working on that game was in Kiev. Like that's another game that's just like indefinitely delayed, and who fucking knows what's happening. Maybe Russia's just like not a fan of Stalker, and they just don't want Stalker to release. Which fantasy RPG setting would I say is good? Any setting can be good if done well. But I think that a massive bummer with fantasy settings is a lot of them kind of overlook the shitty narratives and default directions that a lot of traditional authors and such have gone with that style of writing. Because of that, I think that it actually loses a lot. I think a lot of fantasy settings actually lose a lot more than they gain with their setting. And I kind of wish that they did a better job of realizing the issues with fantasy theming and the shitty human tendencies that fantasy theming is based on, and did a better job with that subject matter. Similarly to how I wish more Cthulhian and Lovecraftian cosmic horror themed creative works did a better job addressing their source material and not falling into the same traps that their source material is based on. Essentially, making a good, interesting experience without being extremely racist. Because unfortunately, Lovecraft was extremely racist. And a lot of fantasy tropes are also based in a lot of racism. So if you can address those, unless like you're making like a kiddie fantasy fucking whatever bullshit factory, then do that, that's fine. But like if you're going to make a serious narrative with writing, don't just, you know, fall into the same traps that we always have. Which games do I think I executed correctly then? I'm playing it right now. But I don't know. I don't play that many fantasy games. The original Dragon. Dragon. What's the name of that game? Dragon Age. I want to say Dragonfall, and I'm like, I know that that's wrong because I was thinking about Daggerfall for some reason. The original Dragon Age does that stuff pretty well from my memory of it. Or like, you know, just going with the comedy theme and being like the Divinity games. But I don't know. You see the games that I play. I'm not really a person to ask that. I don't play a lot of mainstream stuff, which is the stuff that normally falls into those traps. You know, I don't play Far Cry because the writing in it makes me want to rip my hair out. I don't play the vast majority of large mainstream releases because they're so watered down and don't say anything. And we don't talk about politics in our video games and all that crap. That just doesn't make games better. It just makes games worse. Because instead of being like interesting storytelling opportunities, they're just non-storytelling opportunities. And that just sucks, and I hate that. But to me, a lot of traditional fantasy stuff just ends up feeling racist, Skyrim included. Like, holy shit, it's such a bare minimum stereotype for every single different racial group in that game. Like, they do not do a good job with that at all in Skyrim. But I enjoyed Skyrim for a bit. It's just not a game that kept me around very long. But, you know, anybody who's been around this stream for a while will know that I just overthink things all the time, and that's just kind of what I do, so. I'm going to need to knock out doorways for this after. Do the designations first. Sucks to be the dwarf on the end who gets the short room. I've always found all of their races really bloody weird. To me, the way the lore in Skyrim feels is it feels like somebody was really excited about making a fantasy game and then just tried to cram every single trope they could in to make distinctive feeling groups. The issue is when I play it, it just feels really weird. Especially when I watch streams of it, it just feels really weird. It's like all of this is just kind of stereotypy and not in a good way. But, you know, I think that that's also something that video games are getting better at currently. Like an example of a game that does really unique, interesting, well-written, creative science fiction fantasy world building is Caves of Cud. Maybe even the best example of that I've seen ever. I wish more games were like Caves of Cud, I guess. The world would be better if more games were like Caves of Cud. I don't think that's a controversial statement. You can't stop playing that game? I've never had much success streaming 4X games, and I don't see why this one would be any different. Just by that, I mean nobody really likes watching me play them. So I didn't play the first one, so I didn't really know much about the sequel as it was coming out. I saw DOS Tactic streaming it, but it looked like a DOS Tactic game, but like, historically, the worst viewed streams I've ever done are of Civilization, any Paradox game, and most recently Humankind. Like, the statistically worst games for my channel have always been that style of game. I mean, they are streamable, but they're streamable in the same way that Dwarf Fortress is streamable, right? Like, a lot of people, and this is actually why this channel gets almost no raids from other streamers, a lot of people will tell you Dwarf Fortress isn't streamable. What do I think about Minecraft? Extremely boring, but fine for what it is. I need to hack down more trees. I can do more wood floors. Gotta keep up colors. I need to wait on them to make more granite stuff. Yeah, but that's like saying Civilization is fun to stream because you can name captains and cities after people. There's more to it than that. That's not the reason Dwarf Fortress is fun to stream. It's one of many. are more authentic and interesting. True, but like the vast majority of people who stream video games on this website don't believe that this game is streamable. That's the reason that the only people you really see streaming this game are myself, Blue Zest, RNG, occasionally people like Picture Point and Formal Blizzard, Cupo, Tekid, and Southward Sal occasionally. And like I can literally make the joke there's maybe a dozen, like Nucrium occasionally. Like I can literally make the joke that there's maybe a dozen of us who believe that this game is streamable. And even people like Krug Smash are like, I don't want to stream Dwarf Fortress, that's not entertaining. It's like, okay, like a lot of people, like I would say the majority of people who play games don't believe that this game is streamable or watchable, which is why there's what, like 50 people watching and not 1,000 people watching. You know? And it's really tough. It's really tough to deal with and figure out and promote and convince people to watch and beg people to watch and ask people to share and bring friends and all that stuff. And it's difficult to network with streamers because they ask me what I play and then I'm like, Dwarf Fortress, and then they look at me and go, nobody streams that. What the fuck? So I don't know. I would say that like streaming difficulty of a thing is like what your audience is built for and built around. All I know is that I've been slowly killing off my own stream as long as I've been streaming because I've always refused to fall into the norms, I guess, when it comes to what is good for streaming. It just comes down to what is good for streaming on your channel. I just realized I did capital F for that one. That. But anyway, I'll circling around to the beginning of that question. No, I have not tried Distant Worlds 2. I probably won't try Distant Worlds 2, but it looks fine for what it is. It's like another Space 4X. I will never play. All right, let's do that, and that. All right, there we go. Got our wood floors. I'll wait for the dwarves to bring in the wood. My military dwarves are training quite heavily on becoming not super useful dwarves. Let's make one of furnaces. Make 2 wood furnaces. Let's make a smelter and a metalsmith's forge. I want to do steel anvil. But Suave, what brings you here today? Are you here for Dwarf Fortress, or were you just here to ask me if I was planning on playing Distant Worlds? Because that is the first thing you ever said in the chat, and I feel like I've kind of been on that tangent for a little bit now. It's a little bit pointless. It doesn't really go anywhere or benefit anybody, so what brings you here today? Dwarves put all the wood away. As the doorways free up, we can start dropping in these doors. Need to give the dwarves a break at some point. We are into early winter. Ah, okay. Ingas! Were you here before under an old name? Can I ask you what the old name was? I may or may not remember. No guarantees there. Possessed by unknown forces. Mason's Workshop. They grab a boulder. Sounds vaguely familiar. Like, I definitely saw that name before, but remember it too directly. But thanks for coming back. That's actually something that I have to be super mindful of because all of my shit's connected through passwords. It's like, man, if I like lose access to like certain accounts, I'm in trouble. Every now and again, I hear about people having to do that, and it's like, Just received an email from my landlord I have to look at later. It was nice to change the header. It gets spammy sometimes, yeah. I recently switched all my banking email stuff over to a different email provider, which has been nice. Rough color, gems shining. Snow and rock. So, chat, this dwarf here, currently, trying to make this artifact, has smoky quartz and 2 pieces of gabbro. You guys figure out what he needs. Or if you figure out what he needs by the time I get back, I will be impressed. I need to use the restroom real quick. I will be back in a minute. Yeah, it looks to be gems. Gems, 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 gems. So what we could do is we can make a jeweler's shop, which I don't actually have right now. Make it out of granite blocks. I'm assuming somebody's probably got the jeweler's task. I'm actually extremely proud of how well we've done on that campaign. I actually just want to, like, maybe just say even a round of beers in chat, but Herman just put the command into chat, and I'm really happy with how that's gone. Like, it's done way better than I expected it to. I kind of thought it would get, like, maybe $100 in there and then just kind of sit there for a while, but it's doing genuinely kind of great, and that makes me quite happy. Let's cut some galena. So we'll make some galena gems, but we are going to, if I can spot any gems. I don't think we're actually mining on the layers with gems. Gotta be some on the edge. There's some. Let's cancel those so that they go for that first. The gems in the middle. I think those are gems. Those might actually just be, yeah, they're clear zircons. Okay, so, where was our strange mood? Our hunter. Because, you know, getting that over 900 just makes me real happy. And also, you know, shout outs to my mom and dad for padding out that goal quite a bit. All right, so Inga's has begun a mysterious construction. So it turns out that is what they needed. So they got smoky quartzites and cushioned galena cabochons, which is good. That'll do. Beds down here. Oh, we're out of beds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 10 beds. Bed! 10. I'm assuming the majority of the dwarves in this fort don't have anywhere to sleep right now. Actually, bed 100. Let's just make beds. Good evening, mind. How goes the non-employment? And employed at new place, obviously, but I don't know if you actually started today or not, but hope it's going well. Q. Charcoal, 100. Smelt, galena, 50. Silver warhammer, 10. It's just something that you pick up over time, Abel. Good luck again, Stone. You're on parental leave 50% every other week, so it started at such a okay, I got you. I'm back on. Yeah, I've been back on for about 2 hours. I was down for about 20 minutes. I put out a post on Discord when I came back on. My internet went out right as I was switching over to Dwarfs at the start of the stream today, which is very annoying. Or you could just, like, not let them equip a weapon, which is usually what I do. Yuma. It doesn't make all hammerings useless. They can be strong enough to kill people with them. I've seen it happen. They have to be pretty strong, though, admittedly. Ingus, the hunter, has created Bakith Ithmar, a Gabbro Great, and claims him as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor, Tekud Diamond Grip. And, Entha Harims wishes to join the Halls of Defending as a citizen of Mothfall. This is one of my adventurers, who's now officially a citizen. Ethna is the goblin citizen. Who's been frustrated after being kept from alcohol for a while, but can now go get alcohol, and also dreams of making a great discovery. So I'm kind of planning on making this goblin a scholar, in fact, in the fort. But in regards to the artifact, let's just find it real quick. There it is. It's worth 1,200 Zatal. It's called Turmoil Taper. I should have called it Turmoil Tapper because it would have sounded like a video game. Anyway, this is a Gabbro Great. All craft store ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with rectangular Gabbro cabochons, and the subject menaces with spikes of Gabbro and Galena. On the item is an image of the dwarf Stukos Ovsalot. Construct drink the dwarf in smoky quartz. Ovsalot is falling. The artwork relates to the collision of the dwarf Ovsalot with an obstacle after the death strike by the troll Gorzu spider-toned in Submerged Hills in the early summer of 159 during Otu Okzu, the onslaught of blazing. That's kind of a badass great, though. That's kind of awesome. I know that it's like an image of Ovsalot's death, but that is actually kind of great. I'm sending that to Ovsalot. Hope they don't mind. Butchering and eating people and then resting and then... You know, honestly, if they add a sprint button to that game, or if somebody mods a sprint button into that game, I'll play more Soul Ash. But until then, like, I'm just too annoyed with the early game of that game. It's just unpleasant. It's not fun. Like, I can see how you could grind past it, but man, it is not fun in the early game. Either, like, give me a mod where I start at level 3 or a mod where I start with a sprint button, and I will be happy. But that is a badass grate. Let's or great. Yeah, let's just place it right there for right now. Just so that it's constructed and can't be stolen. Killed by a troll and then thrown by a troll and then probably not thrown, but knocked over and off of the edge of a thing. I don't think English is your first language, Mind, so I won't tell you what that means here. But all right, Mind, I get you. What am I taking 2D Metroidvanias, especially the more recent attempts to integrate Dark Souls-like combat difficulty? I don't like platformers with backtracking. I've never liked platformers with backtracking. Like, I just as an example, I started and didn't finish and didn't like Castlevania. I respect that Symphony of the Night specifically is one of the greatest games ever made. I respect it. I don't like it. I don't believe I've ever... You're aware? Okay, just check. I don't believe I've ever played a 2D Metroidvania game that I've finished or enjoyed for any extended period of time. I always enjoy the early game of those games until I get to the point where I have to start backtracking or like going back to areas or checking the map to go to an area that I've unlocked. And I just want to stop. So I don't really have an opinion. I think that the craze of let's make games like Dark Souls is a good thing for games. But I think the problem is a lot of games that try to just be Dark Souls just try to be Dark Souls. The thing that I think people should, or developers should take from Dark Souls isn't the slow animation to hit thing difficulty. What they should take from Dark Souls is people don't need as many tutorials. We don't need as much hand-holding. We don't need as much direction. Have more intention with your design instead of filler. This is something that roguelikes have done for a really long time, traditional roguelikes, and that's a mechanic I like. I really like the, let's not tell the player that they're not ready to fight this thing. Let's let the player go die to this thing and figure it out for themselves. I like that style of game design. So as far as like trying to integrate Dark Souls combat difficulty into a platformer, I mean, I don't like that type of platformer to begin with, so I'm not the person to ask. But I think that a lot of modern game developers and designers could learn a lot from Elden Ring and Dark Souls and that style of game. It's a lot more akin to classic wizardry than more modern games, which I think is a net positive for the industry as a whole. That's not what I wanted. I wanted that workshop. Performance workshop. Which wizardry games did I play? I had a very, very, very legal version of a lot of those games that came in a multi-pack that played weird chiptune music when I put the disc into the drive that a friend gave me, which I think he got from some library in Sweden. Anyway, no idea. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. It was years ago. Well, those are two completely different games. I've always wanted to play the Pillars of Eternity games because they look neat, but probably not going to happen, realistically. But that's my 10-second thoughts on that. Am I that much of an interesting person to listen to talk about video games that my opinions are that valued? That's me asking you guys a question, because, like, Casey asked me that question, and that's, like, a legit good question, but, like, minus any context, I don't even play those types of games on stream. Are my takes really that interesting? What? I mean, do you want me to just repeat what I just said? Because I could, but... What the fuck's my manager up to? Burr, what you doing? Oh. Burr, guess what? You no longer get to haul things. Didn't understand the question. What are you fighting with? And are you winning? Are you winning, son? I think is the question. Playing a Wood Elf Ranger because it's a classic? Hell yeah. Oh, fighting with AT&T. Oh, just like me fighting with Shaw earlier today. This checks out. I mean, you already gave them money, probably, which is when you lost initially. When it's a phone provider or an ISP, you lost the second you agreed to give them money the first time. And there's no winning beyond that. No, I mean, I don't expect people to agree with my opinions. My opinions are based on my experience. You've had different experiences than me. Hold on. They turned off the voice capacity of your phone? They can do that? That seems wrong. I don't know, what the fuck? Called Honey Paw? If you hook up with that bear, does that make them into a honey pot? I need a stool. Yeah, we can move that one, it's fine. No dials, no answer, can't get voicemail? What the fuck? That is weird. I've never heard of that happening. Is this one of those, like, well, I didn't pay the bill, so they're, like, taking it out on your speaking ability? But, like, talking about silencing your speech, man. Jeez. That's wild. I don't believe I've ever heard of that happening before. Saba Styleworth wishes to join the Halls of Defending as a citizen of Mothfall. I think the next time we stream this fortress, we're going to retire it and run some more adventurers here. Ericsson in Sweden controls telecom in 184 countries, like all of these agencies, NSA, etc. They're dependent on them. They can basically do anything, and they control AT&T as well. I'll be honest, I know very little about like mobile phones. Not an industry I'm super familiar with. I just don't really know the over-under on how that industry works, really. I just don't. I'd be lying if I pretended to. Okay, so we brought that chair in. It's going to be assigned to my manager. Who's you? Her. Huh. Interesting. I mean, that is concerning. But anyway. I'll put it this way. I was this close to getting rid of my mobile phone until I got, like, health concerns that require me to have a phone. So, I'm not super fond of mobile phone companies. Just in general. They seem like bad news. I was sitting here going, like, why aren't they making beds faster? I just figured it out. It's because they're too busy making spiked wooden balls. I realize the spiked wooden balls are important, but make me beds instead, Dwarf. They are important. I will not deny that. They are my, like, one and only trade good. But I'm a milk animal on repeat. And for that, I need bucket. I guess I could make nickel buckets. Too bad I can't make nickel buckets. Yeah, no, I knew about that thing. Also, I just realized a massive problem. Or kind of a massive problem. I don't really have an entrance to this tavern anymore, so I need to make another walkway. Anybody milking animals? Are you attending a meeting? Are you depressed? No. Who are you attending a meeting with then? Oh, you're trying to join the faction. Padinsky joins! Welcome to the great dwarf Padinsky, who's going to become my chief medical dwarf. Who's one of my adventurers. Padinsky wishes to join the halls of defending as a citizen of Mothfall. Absolutely. And Padinsky, now that you're officially a citizen, I can jump in to here, go over here, or rather, actually, not there. Go here, give it to Padinsky. We're also going to jump down to the bottom here, and I'm going to go to you. What do you like doing? You dream of mastering a skill? Join the military, please. How about you? To the other one. Crafting or masterwork someday? Get into metalsmithing, Dwarf. I need someone to be a wood burner. Clearly don't have any wood burners right now. How about clothers? Not super helpful. There you go. How about another ranger? Give you wood burning. Yeah, I understand that feeling of creating a masterwork someday. Not particularly, I'll be honest with you, mind, but here we go, I guess. I knew about the mining one. I also knew about the weapons one. And, like, I think now that you're mentioning it, like, I heard about the controversy when Huawei stuff happened, and then read into that more, and then just went, that's stupid, and then got myself an almost completely free Huawei phone, and then put custom firmware on it, and was quite happy with it for a bit. So, are you trying to just, like, make everybody angry at the planet, or are we, like, doing something else here? Another, one of my adventurers has joined proper, which is also good. I need a milker. I'm gonna give you milking. I doubt anybody's got milking. Just like I doubt anybody's got cheese making. No one ever has these skills by default. There you go. I think that the final puppet master is the stupidity of society. Not so much a particular country, but... Really curious to see where the dwarf's gonna get this bucket from. Where did this bucket end up? You're telling me they put a bucket where? Exactly? Well, like I said a minute ago, I really don't want to talk about this and also don't really have anything to add. So I don't really understand why you're still on the subject mind. Do you want to talk about anything else? I don't know how else to end the subject aside from that. You're done? Cool. Hey, Squug, what's up, dude? Long time. You've been distant. I hope things are okay over in your neck of the woods. Go. Dwarf is running back home. Well, you know, like, there's a degree of, like, all right, this is relevant and something that we can discuss. And then there's just, all right, I know, but there's nothing to be said, right? Been busy with work ever since? Certainly seems that way, yeah. It's good to hear that you've been busy, though. Better to be busy than to not be busy. But yeah, there's things that we can discuss about certain subjects, and then there's some things where it's just like, yeah, there's nothing to be said. Like, this sucks, and there's just nothing to say about it. And that is definitely on the ladder of that discussion. Like, there's just nothing to be said. So, it just kind of mutes the conversation and makes everybody depressed, and that doesn't really benefit anybody at this point. Sounds mostly insane. That's how rich people stop non-rich people from becoming rich, is by making things so complicated that you sound insane when you explain it. Try explaining to somebody who doesn't understand how the economy works, the stock market. Good fucking luck! Is this because of the war? Frog? It's always a part of the world I've been fascinated with, so... Kinda in talks with your boss to become his new #1, as the current guy is kind of flaking and looking for other work now? What's that mean? Being the #1. Brand new baby was born. How the fuck do I... Oh, I do have a mare. I was like, how the fuck do I not have a mare yet? I've got 57 dwarves. I have a mare. All right, well, that explains that. That's how the fuck I have a mare, is I do have a mare. Well, this can be the mare's bedroom. Morale. Who's your bet? What is your name? And Marin is your game. Hey, Wogard. And to answer your question from the other day on the community Discord, yes, I'm okay. Just excessively depressed and burnt out. But I am okay. Doop. I'm still waiting for tavern games, Stone. You're loving today's tunes? It's just the DF fan music. Usually jump between that and just the ambient machines. The ambient sound machines are just lovely. We need refined coal. Well, we're working on it, okay? All these dwarves have hammers now. Yay, they do. Should build some above ground farm plots. Specifically out here. Because seeds are down here, so not too hard for us to expand the outside of this. Time to make cheese on repeat, and then make milk again. Make milk, make cheese, make milk, make cheese, make milk, make cheese, make milk, make cheese. Rinse and repeats. Barley. 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 Cool, so we now have a barley garden. We're also going to have a pendant amaranth garden. We now have a barley garden and a pendant amaranth garden, which is lovely. But yeah, TLDR on what I'm doing to help fix my brain, or what I'm going to test to see if it works to help fix my brain, is I'm changing my stream schedule. So instead of streaming the current 5 days a week plus the extra like podcast day of editing plus trying to fit interviews in there somewhere, instead of doing that schedule, we're going to stream 3 days a week. I'm going to have 1 day a week to do podcast and other content things, and then the rest of the time is going to be either spent on extra side projects for the YouTube channel or like sleeping and taking breaks, because I work too much, and it's very, very, very evident that I work too much. I used to be able to stream 7 days a week, but the thing that I like keep having to remind myself of is the reason I was able to stream 7 days a week back when I did that was I didn't, rat weed is what you smoke daily. It's not what you want to brew into drinks, that's for sure. The rest of the time I am, for lack of a better term, like currently just stressed out and exhausted all the time with no days off. So I'm going to see if streaming longer hours, less days is a better method for this stream. Because back when I streamed 7 days a week, I didn't do any YouTube stuff. I didn't do any interviews. It was just streaming. And I would occasionally try and cram other things on the side, but quickly burn out of them and not stick to them for very long. Because I would quickly burn out. Thought that dwarf was depressed. He's not. He's just thirsty. Stone's still got that fucking disease from the last fort. That's bizarre. Your dwarf's old. I don't think you're that old, Stone. How old is your dwarf? Okay, yeah, you are pretty old. 145 is pretty old. It does seem to be a permanent condition, yeah. You dream of raising a family, and I don't think you'll ever get that dream. You do have a lover who doesn't live here. You do have a nephew in the fort, though. We're going to slowly start digging this out. Is the username that you're using currently? Or a username that you used previously? That's a funny coincidence, though. It's always fun when, like, human imagination collides like that. I get you. Sort of like there's a podcast called the Halcyon Podcast that exists that is completely unrelated to Halcyon Frequency and hasn't existed as long as Halcyon Frequency about football. So even though we've been throwing around the idea of making a podcast, in the time that we could have created a podcast, somebody else made a podcast called the Halcyon Podcast that's about football. Football being British football. Or at least I assume it's British football, considering it's a football podcast and it's in the sports section, and the guy who describes it talks about football a lot, so I would generally assume it's a football podcast. I kind of fucked this up, I'm just realizing. Dig faster, Dwarf! All right. The water's coming. It's a race against the clock. Do you think they'll finish digging out the moat before the water hits? That's the question. I'm gonna go with a no. I'm gonna forbid all of these woods. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Ignore the wood, Dwarf. It's fine. Okay, the drainage is in. Well, that's good news. I think bottom side is more important. But I'm just going to queue all of it up. This is me, like, absent-mindedly accidentally doing something I should have done later, but did it right away. Come on, dwarves. Go back to digging. Get to it. Do it before this becomes a problem. Those vultures are going to get him. Nah, it's fine. The vultures are just annoying. They're not much of a threat. They're not giant vultures. We're not totally crazy here. God, I love how they just dive in there and then there's just like vulture blood just filling up the water. Come on, dwarves. Just get out of there, you big numbskulls. Yeah, just go up. North. Magnetic north, preferably. There you go. All right. Restricted traffic. There we go. Look at this. We now have a pretty fully fledged little moat. And we've created successfully a second waterfall. What do you think, chat? How do we do? Rate my moat. Although we're gonna need to like cut out more of that little river there, and then also a new waterfall addition, which is gonna be very flowy. Splash out of 10. I think that we can pretty safely say that this waterfall is gonna make quite the splash in the community. You can look at it. Beautiful. Yep, it's already making it down. I'm expecting to just scroll up and just see a dwarf falling. Just be like, no! Hold on. We can follow the wood as it flows over the edge. See where the date palm wood logs go. Actually, how deep is this water? Oh yeah, it's shallow enough that dwarves could run through it, theoretically. All right, there we go. Whee! All right, let's channel out this end bit here. So now we have probably not the most effective moat ever, but we have a moat, so that's good. Definitely not going to be the most effective mode ever. but it'll be efficient. And you're like, bye. I mean, someone on YouTube in YouTube comments pointed this out recently, and that's Hotbeards has footage of the best night creature death of all time. The were creature being washed over the waterfall. Literally runs in the map, attacks a water buffalo in the river, and then falls off of a waterfall and goes, wee, splat, and blows up into a billion pieces. Literally the best waterfall death I think I've ever seen. As always, chat, if you'd like to help out the stream for absolutely no cost to you, give the channel a host. It does really help, believe it or not, just because Twitch needs interactivity to know that things are being interacted with. So if you interact with the stream in any way, and this includes hosting the stream on your channel, it really does help us out. So if you did that earlier today, maybe redo it, because I definitely lost it when my internet went out. Twitch is a constant battle against numbers, and my numbers have been way too low basically since the year started. So if you want to help the channel out, or actually more or less since August ended last year, if you want to help the channel out any way that you can, share the stream, tell other people that it exists, or interact with Twitch's interactable features is preferable. Thanks, Bastet. Because currently, nobody is hosting the channel except for Bastet now. This is going to be another little longhouse. Is going to have mayor's office / dining room in it, and then some more bedrooms, most likely. Ah! Thanks for $10.63. I don't know what that means, but cheers. That genuinely scared the crap out of me. Was not expecting that. I should really make that that command easier to figure out, shouldn't I, audio? It turned to French? It's been French for a while. The French voice is just too funny to not be French. Just have both work? I could set that up, but not right now. I mean, woohoo and hell yeah are too hard to remember. Did you? I mean, you did send me a voice thing, I think. Although it's kind of hard to hear the others over Hobo going, well, fuck yeah! Because Hobo was the only one who really screamed. There's like 8 people in there. Like Gimper's in there. I think you did too. Yeah. It was a while ago I made it. I should refresh it, actually. We should make a fuck yeah 2021. Or 2022 edition, not 2021 edition. We never made a 2021 edition. We should make a 2022 edition. And there's going to be the nice wood floors. Let's also put some walkways right there. Holy shovel, Batman? I mean, a holy shovel would not be very efficient at lifting dirt. A shovel with a hole in it? Or a Batman? Which one did you find? Or a shovel with a halo on it. That or you found a whole shovel, which means something totally different because English is fucked. I wonder if I have a single cheese maker in the fort. Cussy, I got a new job for you when you're done drinking. We can go make us some cheese. A sacred shovel? I mean, shovels don't... You know, it only just dawned on me that shovels don't exist in Dwarf Fortress. Is that a weird thing to just suddenly have dawn on me? I feel like I should know this. I really feel that I should know this, but... But there are no shovels in Dwarf Fortress. Maybe, like, in the future we could have, like, picks to mine and then shovels to clear. Dwarves' hands are shovels? Is this just the same logic that the dwarven hair is so dense that they use it as fishing nets? Shovel skiing? What is shovel skiing? Never heard this term before. So, like, I keep getting thrown off. I look at my OBS and it says I've been streaming for 3 hours. I look at my stream time and it says I've been streaming for 3 hours. But I've actually been streaming for 5 and a bit. Like 5 hours and 20 minutes so far today. Oh, you mean like when Link stands on his shield and sleds down things, but on a shovel? Huh. Okay. Fair enough. Also, why is the game paused? What? Oh, spring's arrived. Duh. I have this setting flipped that I was testing for this fort, which is auto pause after season change. But because the game basically pauses when the season changes anyways, it always throws me off when the actual season change happens. Is it where you stand on a plate and use the handle to steer? That seems real dangerous. Link does that? That sounds cool. Yeah, Link will like sled on his shield down hills in like Breath of the Wild. Does the whole shovel surfing thing. Uh-oh. A vile force of darkness has arrived. Chat, you may want to look up. But fortunately, it looks to be just a small scouting party. I'm seeing a bunch of goblin bowmen. That appears to be more or less it. We don't actually have a burrow currently, so I will make one real quick. Which is going to be here. Plus down here. Plus this zone right here. Plus this lever. My military has been sent to go kill this goblin as they start firing arrows. 'Tis indeed a small collection of goblin. So some of my soldiers are very experienced from hot beards, fortunately. Uh-oh. Looks like Yuma's taking a few hits in the back, which is actually real bad for Yuma. The flying silver arrow strikes the bone carver in the right hand, fracturing the bone through the cave spider silk, right mitten. The force pulls the right wrist, and the bone carver says, "These injuries, begone fear. I've been wounded. That is very annoying." Can understand. Whew, well that one missed. That's good. That one hit the dwarf up front, and the dwarf up front says that they are expade after experiencing trauma. Yes, afraid after experiencing trauma. The military is running in as quickly as they can. The mayor is actually the leader of the squad, which is a terrible setup. I'm just realizing. I really need to give that job to somebody else. It's fine. We'll figure that out later. The mayor is at the front of the squad, followed by Kettle Lars, who's a very experienced combat dwarf from Hot Beards, as you can see. So fingers crossed those two crafts dwarves can get away before the goblins catch them. Another bolt fires and misses. Another bolt fires and misses. Another bolt fires and very much misses. Another bolt fires and very much misses. This guy can't aim. Another bolt fires and very much misses. Another bolt fires and very much misses. Another bolt fires and hits. Wrestler has entered a martial trance and hasn't even gotten in hitting range yet. Does have a silver mace equipped. Seems to just run past, and then they are all circling back around. The dwarves jump onto the first goblin bowman, and the swords dwarf bashes the goblin in the left with her silver warhammer. The mayor punches the bowman in the left hand with her left hand in the head, punches the bowman in the head with her left hand, and the attack is deflected by the goblin bowman's copper cap. Ow, that's gotta hurt the knuckle. Jack, can I get a round of beers for these dwarves going into fight, please? Big thanks. Big round of beers. Come on, we can get some excitement for this onslaught, just like the goblin bowman that looks surprised by the ferocity of the militia commander's onslaught. They jump onto it and kill the first one, move on to the second one. The fight ends pretty quickly. Onto the third. Now jumping onto the fourth. We do have one wounded dwarf at the back who is Usteth, who is terrified while in conflict, but overall things seem to be going quite well. Most recent goblin jumped away from the Hammer Lord and fired a flying copper arrow, and the dwarf and the goblin bowman says, "Death! It's all around us. This is truly horrifying." The mayor Umal, meanwhile, most recently bashed a goblin crossbowman in the left upper leg with her silver warhammer, fracturing the bone through the giant bat leather cloak, and the force twists the left hip, tearing apart the muscle and bruising the bone, and tearing apart the muscle, and of course bruising the bone. And the ligament has been torn, and then the mayor says, "Death, it's all around us. This is truly horrifying." They continue to fight. The goblins are still firing bolts, but unfortunately that small collection of goblins doesn't seem to have made it too far. Now, with all that being said, we need a medical place, like stat. So I think... I think that we will... Because it needs to be indoors, right? So none of these currently work. I think I will repurpose this into a field hospital for this exact moment. I'm going to quickly make a zone over here. Hospital. So they should be able to go do hospital things. Man, you're pretty injured back there. What's wrong with you? Your left foot is cut open and your left foot is bruised. Okay, so this dwarf got a bad cut on their foot. That's why they're lying down, which means they should be fine. Seem too major. But the dwarves are victorious after the fight with the collection of goblin. Dwarves run out to clean. I do think that we could, assuming we get the doors shut in time, I do think that we could survive more fights like that, so that's good news. I do need one more dwarf for the military though, so let's find one. We're crafting a masterwork someday. You can. Let's see what the chief medical dwarf is currently doing. Pedinsky is cleaning the patient. Well, that's good. We do need to build a proper hospital, though. Ooh, that's 3 injuries. That's pretty rough, actually. Trying to figure out where I could easily make a, what do you call it, a well. I mean, I got plenty of options. It's just a matter of where I want it to end up. But as per always, chat, you know, got to keep the conversations going. So I think that fight went pretty well. I'm kind of aiming to not do much with the with the larger kind of combat stuff in this fort. Like we're gonna focus less on traps and more on just building a military, because we are actively at war with all of these goblins right here, and plenty of these destroyed dark pits here are destroyed because, well, I destroyed them. So because of that, there is tons of stuff here that's like currently just left there because I destroyed them. So, also investments are open if you wish to invest your tickets. How many do I have? I should invest some. Making barrels, making charcoal still. More ore. Make 10 more hammers. I'm also kind of hoping that we'll get some Goblinite-esque things from said goblins. Elven caravan has arrived. I don't really think I have anything to sell them. This is the same problem I had the last time they were here. It's like, I don't think I actually have anything to sell them. Kind of difficult. At least nothing I can safely sell them confidently without, like, unless they want to buy some goblin bodies. Want to acquire things being kept from alcohol. Why are you being kept from alcohol? Drink brew. Go drink booze. Problem with you drinking booze. Make a wood stockpile right there. It's going to take a while for them to fill it up, but I'd rather they just fill up the wood stockpile than do what they're currently doing, which is take forever to bring wood over. I'm sure the elves love this. This is a pretty sparse tree area, so I kind of got to do what I got to do, you know? And that's a lot of suspended jobs. Let's unsuspend these. I can unsuspend the spiky wooden balls too. Everybody's favorite, the spiky wooden balls. I feel like I can also deconstruct that. But you know, we'll do that later. It's fine for right now. Man, apologies to everybody who didn't win. Now's where you scream rigged, right? Just trying to keep conversations going. You know how I do. Something else I need to do, especially with the new schedules, I'm going to need to ask Clino what his thoughts are on me posting my stream on Discord and then changing games halfway through the stream. Or not on Discord, or on Reddit and changing games. Like, do I delete the thread? How do I do that? One of the cuter things about this fortress is this cat, this pet cat, actually came into the fort with the adventurer. This cat that's following this goblin around in here. An adventurer. Went on an adventure. They walked from all the way down here in one of these elven retreats. All the way up here around this lake. All the way up to here. Before settling here. Just kind of adorable. Kind of love it. Right, dwarves, you should be dumping corpses. Could be. But first, I guess they just have to finish all the hauling. All right, chat. I think it's time for me to go get a lunch break. Rotten milk item? What? Doesn't surprise me. There's a... Oh, no. Actually, what I think that you're looking for isn't rotten milk item. Needs unrotten milk item. It means I don't have any milk, which is why they canceled the job. I had a repeating make cheese item, which means that they need to find a milk item. So it says that there either needs to be a milk item or there needs to be a unrotten milk item available, meaning I have no milk items available because all my milk items were made into cheese. Anyway, I'm going to go take my lunch break, chat, because chat's deciding to be lurky, so now's a good time to do it. I will be back in a couple of minutes. Please keep the chat relatively active while I'm gone. That would be amazing if you guys love me and want to keep this stream alive. Keep the chittery chit-chat going for the next 5 to 10 minutes while I go get my lunch break. In the near future, when we switch to the new schedule, I'm going to be prepping meals, so hopefully these will be shorter. But I will be back in a couple of minutes. The game will remain paused as of now. And when we return, it will continue. Can I get a round of beers if possible? And, I don't know. Tell me something interesting about your day. I'll be back in 5.